This is Belen Diaz and you're watching the E-volve show. Today we're gonna be talking about time management. It's like we're all day busy working a lot of hours. Maybe if we start managing our time, we can work less or we can be more mindful about our free time. So today we have a time management coach and her name is Becca Rich. Becca Rich is an holistic time strategic coach and she can help you to manage your time and maybe create more freedom to do the things that you love. Hi Becca, how are you?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for this opportunity to chat with you.
Of course, thank you so much for being here and to jump into all these conversations. Why don't we start by telling the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do with your business?
Yeah, so my name is Becca Rich. I am a holistic time management strategist and coach. I like to say that I'm both things. I'm a digital nomad. We were talking a little bit before. I will be in Colorado this summer and I get to travel and move around. But prior to starting my business, I was an engineer full time. And then I was also a yoga teacher and astrology, like meditation, Reiki, all the things. So now I get to use all the information that I know to help my clients. And I work with successful online entrepreneurs, business owners on creating time freedom, right? We started our businesses to have this flexibility and freedom with our time. And then we end up getting bogged down with not enough time for everything. And so yeah, by helping my clients create a sustainable work schedule, create those boundaries, shift their mindset and heal their mindset with time, and work on taking time off guilt-free. All of those things come together to make time freedom a reality.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so like I love it because you're like, oh, I'm all these things. Like, I don't know if you guys know Marie Forleo or if you follow her. She always say like she's a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and I love that because it's like you don't have to be just one thing. Why don't just be everything? Explore all the kind of things in your career or like your hobbies. So it's just awesome that you have been able to implement everything into your practice.
Yeah, I love it. And as you could tell, like super low maintenance, no makeup, t-shirts, like I'm very much
Awesome.
down to earth, like let's just be us authentically. That's like my
Totally.
philosophy.
That's awesome. So you were saying like you were an engineer. How all of this started for you when everything changed? Like there was a moment that you thought like, well, this is not the path I want to continue with my life. Like, time is moving. I need to start like doing more adventurous things, traveling. Like, how all of this work out for you that you come up with this business that you're doing nowadays?
Yeah, so when I was only in university, like I was in college studying to be an engineer, I actually had a burnout moment. And, a lot of us entrepreneurs experience burnout in some way, shape, or form, but I did it before I started my own business. And I think for that reason, I'm really grateful. And so when I hit my burnout, I was in the hospital trying to like meet a deadline. And
Oh,
I had that like realization of, oh my God, like why do I care more about my work than my life, my health, my body? And so I after that was, soon into my college experience, I was like, okay, I love engineering, like I'll just, go for it. It's what I'm studying. But there was something inside of me almost immediately after starting to become an engineer was like, okay, there's something more. And so I still continued on that path. I became a yoga teacher. Like I graduated from engineering school and then I went to Costa Rica for 20 days, like to go to teacher training. Like I was just so into like just becoming a yoga teacher. And so for a couple of years after college, I did both. I was a part-time yoga teacher. I was an engineer. I was planning my wedding, like all these things. And I was like, okay, I also want to travel the world and I can't do that from my cubicle. So that's really where the passion for starting my own online business came into play. And eventually, it just turned into I'm pretty good at managing my time. And, people were always asking me, how do you, how did you make time freedom a reality in your business. And so it just came naturally through all of the experiences that I've had.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I feel like I love this conversation already because it's like sometimes like we get busy with the day a day, and I'm always like, we have another chats with other ladies about like productivity and all these things. So this week I saw a video about how to organize your calendar, and for people probably they're like, why are you gonna spend time on that? But I love it. It was like all colors and everything. And to be honest, this week has been the most productive in the last months probably. So like, why, like, I love like talking to you, like that your business is like about time management and also how to free time. Like, what is that important for all of us, like entrepreneurs or not even entrepreneurs, moms, anybody who will be watching this conversation?
Yeah, and I love what you brought up around calendar because I love all things calendars. But and we'll get to that in a little bit, but I really wanted to hone in on the fact that you talked about productivity. And so I think a lot of time management coaches, productivity people, like all of these books that we love and consume all of the time, like where their main message is to be more productive. But the difference is sort of like what I do is, yes, I'm going to help you be more productive, but that's not the why. That's not like the thing inside of you that's driving you to like live your life, right? I'm helping you be productive, but then also take time off. And so there's like a next step, next level that we take together in the journey.
I love that. So it's like more like freeing your time, like how to live life really, like to have those spaces that fulfill your life, right?
Yeah, totally. And that at the end of the day, right, time is our life. Like that's it. It's as simple as that. And so when you um, spend your time in the pursuit of productivity and getting more done all of the time, that's when we get lost in the day to day. That's when we get so bogged down with and overwhelmed with our to-do list because you can only get so productive, right? There's still a huge piece of you inside that's like, I want free time, I want flexibility, I want freedom. And so yeah, like at some point there needs to be a shift of, okay, yes, I'm going to be my most productive self, but on top of that, I'm going to go and live my life and breathe and like be alive, right?
Yeah. And I was like reading recently, I mean, I read it like 10 years or like 15 years ago, the 4 Hours Week book.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because last night I told a friend was telling me like, oh, you should read it, and I was like, oh, I already read it. But then she was like, no, read it again. So yesterday actually I was like rereading it, and I'm like, this is so interesting because kind of like what inspires all my life after reading it, you know. And I think it was like one of the main things, like people wait for retirement to enjoy life. How sad is that? Like, we have a precious life, like now that we are able to do it and we're young and we can go places and everything, like I love that you actually support people and help them to free that time and teach them about kind of like that perspective, like enjoy now, like you don't have to wait for retirement to do, or just being busy all day.
Yeah, you don't have to wait. And that's like one of the biggest things that I think, like the shift that I see people need to make is that it is possible to work 4 hours a week if that is your goal, right? Whatever you want, it's possible. It's just trying, like figuring out the steps to get there. And so for me, like I work 3 days a week. That's it. I have off 4 days of the week. Um, and so when I work with people, we figure out how many hours do you work and how many hours do you want to work? And we just work together to make that happen. It's really as simple as that. And so, whatever, and there is so much like controversy around there is privilege, right? There is a lot of conversation that needs to be had around privilege in terms of time freedom. And so that is something else that I'm really passionate about is like figuring out how to acknowledge your privilege of wherever you are on the spectrum of society and your intersections of who you are, but then also, you know, making those tangible steps in your own personal life to make time freedom, whatever that means to you, a reality.
Yeah, and it's like what you say also is like it's very personal. So it doesn't have to be like traveling the world, or doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm gonna work 2 days. Like you can have a full time work because it's what you do, what you like, or what you have to do, you know.
Yep.
But then how do you manage your weekends? Maybe you can be more mindful about it so you can enjoy them more, right?
Yeah, it really is the basis of everything, right? Is how can you be more present in your life in each moment. And so I often talk about, you know, time management is honestly radical self-love, being able to spend each moment in the way that like your innermost self needs to. Though in the way that like would make you feel safest, and the way that would make you feel healthiest, whatever that is for you, that it's like it's so like you could probably feel it from me explaining it. It's like I believe this so down like to my core of that time management is radical self-love. It's so important.
Totally. So, Becca, what are some things that you see in your clients? Like something that you see that it's a pattern, or a lot of us are like struggling, or like we live like that and we don't even realize we can use a better, like a coach like you to teach us like how to manage our free time. What are some things that you see?
Yeah, so one of the most common things, and that's why I call myself a holistic time coach, is that like energy and all of these things that are interconnected that make you who you are. It's special, and that is why the majority of time management hacks and apps and tools don't work, is because you are unique. And so you have to put yourself at the center of how you manage your time. So if you keep reading time management books and you keep downloading the next asana or Trello and like all the things, and you're still like feeling overwhelmed, you still feel like you don't have enough time, then you know, that's sort of where this concept of putting you at the center of how you manage your time, the time management strategies that you need are inside of you, and all it takes is someone to help you discover them and explore them and put them all together in a way that makes sense. And so I think that that's one of the most common things I hear is like, I've been trying to manage my time, you know, and read all these things and do all these things, and it's like you're only creating another hamster wheel for yourself of things to manage and understand and like make happen. And so yeah, if you're on that second little hamster wheel of trying to figure out how to manage your time, like all it takes is someone as simply like coming in and helping you discover like inside of you.
So this,
um
yeah.
does that resonate? How does that sound to
Totally.
you?
Yeah. Like I feel like you get more overwhelmed trying to figure out all these things.
Yeah, it's a whole nother thing, right? Like I know a lot of people, they'll, you know, download ClickUp thinking ClickUp is going to save their life and their business, but in reality, then they're spending hours and hours trying to figure out how to get it to work for them and set it all up. And like at the end of the day, time is pretty simple. It's like I said, in each moment, it is spending it in the most radically self-affirming, self-loving way possible, most compassionate way possible. And then another tool, or I guess like thing that I see in my clients that um, might be happening for you if you're listening to this, is you like time just vanishes, right? It is, you know, you never get enough done, and time just goes and goes and goes, and then you have no idea what you've even done. And so and then on top of all of this, there's this whole like shame cycle, right? So we put a ton on our to-do list, time just vanishes, and then we shame ourselves for not doing enough, not getting enough done. And so there, I call it the to-do list shame cycle. And so if you're experiencing something similar to that in any capacity of, you know, just this whole like concept of a to-do list shame cycle, um, we are so hard on ourselves as entrepreneurs. We expect so much of ourselves. We think that we have to always be productive. We have to never rest. Like it's glorified to work all night. And, you know, there's this whole new wave of entrepreneurs out there who want to be sustainable, who want to spend time with their families and rest and take the weekends off or work 2 days or whatever your time freedom definition is. And um, if you're experiencing this shame cycle, there is a really simple tool that it changed my life a couple of years ago, and it's simply just writing out the things that you have done. And so I call them a have done list, and I put them, I have a paper planner, but my paper planner is just my have done list. So like, it's a way to decompress at the end of the day or the end of the week or whatever, is just to write out the things that I have done. And it helps me just like I said, decompress, but then also it makes me think like I have done something, I have made progress. And that is positive reinforcement, which we are learning scientifically that positive reinforcement is actually more, it helps us be more productive instead of that shame and that guilt. And so we need to figure out a way to break this to-do list shame cycle. And that is a really great way and tool that you can start using today.
Yeah, and it's like a positive like way to look at things instead of like blaming you. And I feel like you were mentioning like all of, like it's true like for all of the entrepreneurs and everything, but even like for moms at home, or if you have a job or anything, like if you're all the time like thinking, oh, I have to do this and this and this, and then you don't do it, then you feel bad about yourself. So it's a great way, like for all of you who are watching, like just list all the things that you've done, and then you'll go to sleep much more like excited and you'll feel accomplished. So I think it's
Yeah.
a great thing. What will be some other tips that our audience can use to start like to free more time in their lives, just to really spend time with their family or to do the things that they love?
Yeah, and so this is where the calendar sort of comes into play. And a lot of people talk about calendars, of course, with time management. But, the way that I see calendars and talk about calendars feels different for a lot of people. At least that's what they tell me. But so it's this concept of decompartmentalization. So a lot of times, we'll have a to-do list on our fridge at home, and then we'll have a to-do list for our business, and then we'll have a to-do list for if you have a 9 to 5, and then you have a to-do list of post-it notes on your desk for random things that come up in your mind during the day. So we have this like thing of managing our time and tasks all over the place, and no wonder we feel so overwhelmed and scattered, right? It just makes sense, right? If
Yeah.
our stuff's everywhere, then we're going to feel the same way. And so I think that putting everything in one place is step one. Step two is actually visualizing time, making time real. And so putting everything that you want to do in your calendar. It's really as simple as that. And when you do this, it's not about just regular like throwing time blocks in there of when you think you're going to do something every single week. Like that's why we don't follow it, because it's not holistic and flexible and free. There needs to be an emotional like component to why you're putting things in there, how you're putting things in there. There needs to be a realistic and compassionate piece of where you put things. There's so much that goes into what you put in your calendar, why you put it in the calendar, what it looks like. And so once you piece your stuff together, like it's as simple as moving things around when life comes up. So a lot of us feel again that shame for not following a schedule, not following the time block. And it's as simple as just moving the
Just
things
change it.
around. Like it changes everything. Like just move it. It's okay. You like when you plan your week, when you plan whatever time frame, your day, your year, expect it to change.
Totally.
Expect it to change. 100%. And so, yeah, and the have done list of writing out what you have done on a more normal basis will help you be more realistic of how much you can put on your to-do list and how much things take, how long things take. I know a very common thing is that everything takes 5 times longer than I said it should take. And so that will help you start to be more realistic, which is compassionate and radical self-love for the tasks that you do put on your to-do list and your calendar.
Yeah, like not feeling bad about the things that you schedule and just move them. So you're fine. As you say, move it next day, next week. You'll be fine. It's gonna be on your
Yeah, so
list
like
for the rest of the month, so who cares? Just move it
yeah,
for
just
the
keep
next
moving
week.
it. Yeah. And, a lot of people will be like, well, that's procrastinating. And I want to say, like, there is probably some procrastinating, like, mindset shifts that may need to be addressed. But then also, like, by shaming yourself, you're only like making it feel worse. And so by moving it in a loving and compassionate way in a time that feels good for you, you are going to be more likely to do it instead of when you shame yourself for moving it. There's so much science that goes into this, but
Yeah.
yeah, moving it is even though it's like technically considered procrastination of moving things back to later, remove that emotional like judgment and just be like, I'm going to do this in an hour instead of right now, or I'm going to do this whatever, and that's okay, and
Yeah.
that will help you actually do it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Actually, you will do it because then you have it in mind, but it's like you take that pressure that it has to happen. Because I feel if you schedule it and then it pass, then it's gonna be on your list forever because then you're not gonna put it back. So it's better just to move it. So do
Yep.
you want to tell us a little bit about the? I know you have a freebie for all of us, and I'm super excited about it. So tell us what it is.
It's actually the have done list. So you can download and I explain it more in depth about what it is, how it works, all that stuff. And it will help you just like start to shift your mindset around your time and start to actually notice what does get done and what does happen, and celebrate yourself. I think that's one
Mhm.
of the most important pieces for time freedom, is like actually just realizing what you have done and what you are making progress on, and that helps you relax, right? A lot of
Totally.
people can't relax without feeling guilty. And so by doing this, it will help you relax, which will give you more energy, which will make you more productive the next day. It will like make you feel more alive. There's so many benefits. And it's, like I said, this huge snowball effect. So yeah, go grab that have done list if you want any of those amazing benefits in your life.
Totally. Like we have to all to take it and just start doing it. Like add it to the routine so you can do it at the end of the day. That is so cool.
And it doesn't have to be a daily practice. It doesn't have to, it could just be like on the days that you feel crappy about what you've gotten done, right? And it's like, oh yeah, I have showered, oh yeah, I have eaten, oh yeah, I've watched Netflix. Like all those things are doing something, and that's great.
Yeah, so it's like all the things that you have done. So it's like it's not that the day passed and you haven't done anything. So it's like to give you that boost.
If you've breathed today, you've done something, so
Very
claps to
good.
you.
So how can people connect with you, Becca?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at the Holistic Time Coach. Like, feel free to hop over there. My website is under construction at the moment, but it should be up shortly. And my website is theholistictimecoach.com if you want to learn more about working with me. I have, a VIP service that I help you build your schedule, and then I have a longer term coaching program as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you.